Howdy doody everybody, we are back with another video. In today's video we are talking about Battlefield 2042. That is absolutely insane. Paradise, we're just gonna get right into it, dude. Paradise is here, he's back. Is Battlefield, and how are you feeling
so
about
excited. I'm hyped. Like, this is exactly what it's not exactly what I wanted, because I wanted 2142-esque like future, but this is like an acceptable compromise. You know, we're no longer in the past, we're now in the near future. I'm excited to actually jump on a new Battlefield game again, so I'm really hyped.
So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the specialists, and that's going to be the topic of today's thing. We're going to run through all of that and how classes work, essentially, in Battlefield 2042, or Battlefield 6, as you want to call it. Are you going to say the full name? Or are you going to say Battlefield 2042?
I'm going to say 2042. I'm so used to 2142. I'm gonna get them muddled up, but I like the name, so 2042 it is.
Okay, so for the game and the structure of the specialists and classes, so there are specialists that fit within a specific class archetype. So you would have your recon classes, you would have your assault classes, as you would in old school Battlefields, you'd have your support classes, and then you would have your engineer classes, and they will be kind of spiritually those type of classes, so they will kind of fulfill those types of roles as those specialists. So for instance, there's a specialist that is a recon class specialist, and they get a bunch of informational types stuff or traits for them to function in the actual battlefield with. So they'll give your team way more information, and you'll be able to kind of use that information to combat enemies as much as possible. What do you usually use when you play Battlefield Paradise? Like, what's your go-to class?
For me, there was two classes that I would pretty much play majority of the time. So the first was the assault class.
Yeah.
You know, basically like running and gunning with your like rifle. They usually had, I would say, the better guns in Battlefield as well. But then I also did play a lot of support, simply because you got to those choke points, you know, and if you didn't have support to grenade spam, you were ruined.
Yeah, that was
But
it.
don't sleep on the sniper classes. I loved sniping so much, but it was really map dependent, so I wouldn't always play that class because it depended on what map you were on, you know?
Yeah. So the way that it works is that each specialist gets a specialist trait, a specialty. So a specialty might be like a weapon or something else that we haven't necessarily, or like a gadget or something like that, and a trait. So, and with every class you can customize their loadouts fully as well. So I think you can use any weapon, because in some of the old Battlefields you were restricted by class into like what weapons you can actually equip. So like the recon class could only equip like snipers and stuff like that. In this you can level up, I guess, whatever weapons that you want to, and choose whatever weapon that you want to. So you can be a recon class with an assault weapon and doing whatever. But
do you know how huge that is, T6?
Yeah.
Like, it is undeniable that sometimes, like, a majority of the time you would pick a class based on the weapon, because that is like how you eliminate enemies, right? And the fact that, like, for me, I gelled really well with the assault class weapons, but I would sometimes want to be like a medic or a support in order to get the ammo box or whatever it was, you know? So the fact that you can take that, or you could take a sniper on, like, you know, your assault class, or just something crazy like that, is actually massive. As well as, like, you did get locked into classes as you played the game, because once you'd got your weapon with your attachments,
you're like, I'm not going back.
I am not going back to some dead LMG without a scope. Like, it's not happening. So, you know, that is a huge change. I'm really excited for that change. I think it will just mean that people will try more weapon types. I think it will mean that you're going to see big, like, there's going to be more of a meta in this, I think, where most people are going to be using, like, you know, the top tier weapons with whatever they may be. And it's not class restricted, so, you know, you could have a medic running at you with some freaking, you know, crazy good weapon rather than the support type weapons that they had previously. So it's interesting.
So on launch, they're saying that there's going to be 10 specialists for us to pick from, and I'm guessing there's going to be more coming in the future as well. I feel like they're going for that kind of every season pass thing, where they drop a bunch of specialists with new abilities and stuff, and you kind of want to buy back in and buy that season pass or that character to get access to those characters and those specialists and see what they actually do. So let's run through each of the announced specialists, because there's been 4 announced, one from each of the different classes. And the first up is man like Casper. Casper's from South Africa. He's part of the Recon class. He has a drone as his specialty, and his specialty trait is movement sensor. So we're going to go through and just detail what those are. So the Recon drone.
Real quick. Say real quick, like Recon drones have always been so bad in games so far.
Yeah.
Like, why would you want to be sat in a drone when you could be like just looking at the guy and shooting? You know. So tell me about the drone.
So the Recon drone, what it essentially does is it just targets players and kind of puts them onto your UI again, essentially. I don't know how, if it appears on your minimap or on your actual screen, but it marks the players out and tags them essentially so that you can see them and be aware of them. So if your team's pushing a building, you can mark out players. And one of the really cool things about this, as Paradise says, is that you don't need to actively have this thing used all the time. You can put it up into the air and it'll automatically tag a place if it's overseeing a particular building or like a choke point or anything like that, or you're sneaking up or whatever. It's really cool. I just think that's like a huge thing.
That to me, that makes it interesting and like usable.
Yeah.
Because I would hate being that guy that is like supporting the team in the drone, and you just have to like mark them over and over again and hope that your guy is better than them, right? Whereas this way, you just use it, like fire and forget almost, right? And then you go in and you've got an advantage. So
it'd be interesting to see.
Very interested in that class.
It would be interesting to see if it's infinite, because imagine if you get like there's 64 players per team, right? Imagine if you got some crazy amount of Recon class or Caspers on there, and you just put them all up into the air and you cover most of the map with them, and it's just tagging the whole map. Like
that would be sick.
So his trait is that he actually gets a ability called movement sensor, which kind of seems to be kind of like a heartbeat sensor or a footstep sensor. Anytime there's like quick movement close to Casper, it will be detected on his radar, and who will have visibility on that person, and it's movement dependent. So how quickly they are moving depends on like how visible they are for when they are actually tagged. But I
can already say that is going to be the bane of my existence.
Yeah.
Like this was my Battlefield like loop. Okay, you're playing the game, you're doing your thing, you get sniped. You're like, damn it. Okay. Forget about it. Play your game, do your thing. He snipes you again, and then it's like, okay, now my mission of this entire match is to kill you because now you've annoyed me. So the fact that these snipers are now going to have movement sensor radar when I'm running up the building to get to their sniper spot, I'm worried about that, because that could be really strong, and I don't want to have to crouch all the way up the stairs. But maybe we're gonna have to now. So.
Yeah, we're gonna have to sneak up on the boys. Like we're gonna have to do that. So obviously Casper's part of the Recon class, so that's mostly going to be like snipers and stuff and informational warfare and just sitting back and kind of just chilling and just taking out teams and spotting areas for your teammates. I feel like Casper's going to be a really popular one, because snipers are just hella popular in every game.
But
so,
2-6,
yeah.
If it is any weapon on any specialist, you can literally just be running around with a grenade launcher, assault rifle, while having a motion sensor, and it's going to be nuts. So.
Yeah, but people are just going to pick the snipers anyway, innit? That's always going to be true. Every class is going to be people just running around with snipers. So next up we have Webster McKay. He's from Canada. He's part of the assault class, so the bread and butter class for Battlefield. His speciality is a grappling hook, and the trait is Nimble. So what do you think of Webster?
Like, first of all, grappling hook, that is going to be... This is the difficult thing, okay? The Recon drone sounds sick, but a grappling hook sounds cooler, The fact that you could just grapple hook up to a building where the snipers are, or, completely ignore, like, a choke point because you can just grapple hook around it or something like that. I really want to see, like, how it plays, because if the range is good enough on the grapple hook, that's going to be, like, such a gameplay changing thing. It's going to completely change how you like traverse the map, where like how you go about attacking things. So I'm very interested in that. What does the Nimble perk do?
So the Nimble perk essentially allows you to move faster while aiming down sights. So yeah, it's not like huge, but that could be
faster ADS.
Yeah.
It's not a huge perk. It's not a motion sensor though. You know?
Yeah, but that could just make or break every fight that you get into. Because if you can strafe like left and right faster than the other person, you could just maybe just win every fight. Like because strafe speed and like stocks on like other games that usually increase like your strafe speed just mean that you can win most 1v1s. But in Battlefield, the 1v1s are kind of different anyway. Like you're more outflanking and engaging from a distance, so maybe it doesn't make that much of a difference. But going back to the grappling hook, I just thought of something. What if you can grapple hook onto like vehicles passing by? Like there's like a jet like low flying and you just like grapple hook onto it like
Get like a skateboard out.
Exactly. That's huge.
No, that could be really cool. I didn't think about that. Like yeah, using it on vehicles. Also maybe on players. Like can you grapple hook up towards a player or like yoink them towards you?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what capabilities this grappling hook has and whatever. Because yeah, if you can like go up or
Alright, 2-6.
Yeah, go on.
You be the grapple hook guy, I'll be the recon drone guy. I'll get on my drone and you grapple hook to the drone and I'll just fling you.
We're just gonna be swinging around. Alright. So next up is Maria. Maria's from Germany, part of the support class, has a S21 pistol, and is a combat surgeon for the trait. So what the speciality does is just basically like if you've ever played Rainbow Six Siege, it essentially acts like Doc's like pistol that can revive at range, and can heal players as well. So if your teammates are down, you shoot this at them and it will get them back up. And the combat surgeon perk works in tangent with this and will heal them for more once they're actually being revived as well. So is it heal them to full or heal them for more health?
I think it's to full.
I think it's full. Yeah, I think
I
it's
will
to
say
full.
though that the healing pistol thing is actually really going to be interesting for Battlefield, because I think like if you think about Metro, I think I'm thinking like Metro is like got the subway bit and then you got the outdoor bit at the other end, right?
Yeah.
There were a lot of choke points in Metro where you had to push forwards like into gunfire, and there were sort of like the ticket bollard things like in between in different areas. Yeah. So a lot of the time you could be running towards that ticket bollard and you could just get down and you're kind of safe at that point, but no one's going to be able to get to you unless they have like a death wish, right?
Yeah.
So if you could just pop that guy up in the middle of combat, he might just get instantly killed again anyway, but at least you have the option to revive someone like in those kind of scenarios.
It will be interesting to see what like the cooldown rate is, if it takes ammo and all of that stuff, because this can quickly get kind of frustrating for players on the opposite team if no one is dying, essentially, because everybody's just like being revived all the time and they can't make any progress, especially on those maps that are going to be harder to push through as like the assaulting team or the offensive team. It'd be interesting to see how this works. But this is a medic class. This is the class that a bunch of people should play but don't play. And it'll be interesting to see how this works in all the other medic classes and support classes as they come into the game, and the support specialists and what those essentially do, because I'm guessing there's going to be ones that allow you to gain health, like regen quicker and stuff like that, all those stuff that they usually bring in when there's like other specialists and stuff. And the last specialist, super interesting one, man like Boris. What do you think of Boris?
Shout out to Boris.
So Boris is Boris is from Russia. He's part of the engineer class. All of these classes are really good. I feel like they kind of locked in the themes quite early, and they kind of let you fulfill like a fantasy of playing something on the battlefield as well. So like the engineer class is, I'm reading through all of these classes again. I'm just like, yes, I love playing as these different classes. But Boris has a sentry gun, huge, and his special trait is Sentry Operator. So this sentry gun is kind of like a turret that you can put down on the battlefield, and you can use it manually to target players. But with his trait, what does the trait do, Paradise? Talk me through the trait.
it juices the turret if he's nearby, right?
It
Like,
juices the turret.
We don't quite know how much it juices it, but if it... Okay, 2-6, here's the thing. In 2142,
Yeah.
the support... I think it was the support, or it was one of the classes, had an auto turret. Like, literally like his, but, like, a bit more futuristic. And that turret was scary to go against. Put that turret in a corridor, and someone peeked it, they were dead. Like, very quickly. You had to basically, like, bounce a grenade off the wall or an EMP and hope that it got that turret, because they were so strong. So I'm hoping that, like, if he's not nearby, the turret's kind of like, it will tag you, but maybe not kill you instantly, and you have enough time to react. But for it to be a useful gadget, if he's nearby it, that turret better be beaming you down, just like in 2140.
Yeah.
It sucks when you die to an auto-aim turret, right? But in 2142, it made it a more tactical experience, because you could hear the turret, and you would once you got used to the game, have to play around that. Like, do I flank him? Do I swap classes and EMP it? Or do I, like, Kobe a grenade to take it down? So at first glance, it's like, oh no, an auto turret. But when I started thinking about it more, I was like, actually, 2142 was so sick because of those turrets in different moments of the game. So I actually am really interested to see how good it will be.
Yeah, so the way that the trait fully works is, I think if you're a distance away, you go into manual mode and you have to manually activate it. But when you're super close to the turret, then it will go into automatic mode and auto-acquire targets and have a faster fire rate as well. So that sounds, as Paradise saying, pretty scary, and it depends on how much damage it does and what it does and how many of them are around and how many Borises there are out there just ready to get you down. But all in all of these specialists sound super interesting. Is there anyone that particularly speaks to you?
To be honest, the Boris is sounding pretty cool. I want to... If it is good, I will use it. If it is kind of like, I will not use it. That, for me, it's going to be dependent on how good it is. But outside of the turret class, I really do like the sound of the recon drone. Again, it depends on how good that auto spotting is. So I like the sound of, and the grapple hook though. I like the sound of all of them. It depends on how
exactly. It sounds all of them. It's obviously going to be 10 at launch, so we haven't even seen the full breadth and width of all the specialists that we're going to be getting in the final game when it actually launches, and hopefully they spread them out evenly. There's obviously going to be 2 classes that have 2 more specialists than the others, unless they go with some really weird thing where they like put 4 in like assault or 4 in like medic and keep 1 in the other 2 classes. We should get like an even spread, so we should have a bunch of other specialists in each class there, and they're going to be updating this and adding more specialists as the game goes on anyway into the future, because they're treating the game as a live service. Anyway, guys, that was it for our specialist run through. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for staying here and watching, and all the support that we've had on the videos. We've hit 17k subscribers. If you want to have more Battlefield information, then hit that subscribe button as well into the future. We're going to be uploading more content fairly soon. There's a lot of games and a lot of games news happening right now, and we'll be back very soon with that. But Paradise, what video do you have going out?
So we're going to be talking about the different game modes that we know of, as well as the actual setting of the game, like what is happening in this near future world that's caused this to happen, basically. So that's what we're doing over on my channel.
Cool. So look out for those videos as they drop, and see you later. Bye-bye.